the amount of income raised from these mixed ownership model companies.
Question number 3, Honourable David Parker.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for ACC. How much did ACC invest in Pike River Coal Limited and in New Zealand Oil and Gas Limited over the last 8 years, and how much has it made or lost in total on its investment in each company, taking into account share purchases, subscriptions and sales, dividends and current share prices?
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, I'm advised that the shares currently held by ACC in New Zealand Oil and Gas cost $22.4 million and have an unrealised loss of $3.9 million. Over the last 8 years, it has made a realised gain, including dividend and trading income, of $8.9 million. The shares currently held by ACC in Pike River Limited cost $20.5 million and have an unrealised loss of $20.5 million. And during the last year, it has made a realised loss, including dividend income, of approximately $1 million. In total, the net loss of the investment to date has been $16 million.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Of ACC's $2 billion profit on investments last year, how much did ACC pay towards the court-ordered compensation which Pike River Coal, a company which ACC partly owned, has not honoured?
Honourable Judith
Well, Mr
Collins.
Speaker, of course ACC had no obligation or requirement to pay that, and it was not ordered by the court to do so.
Mr Speaker.
Point of order.
My question wasn't that. My question was, how much has ACC from...
Order. I invite the member to ask that question again.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Of ACC's $2 billion profit on investments last year, how much did ACC pay towards the court-ordered compensation which Pike River Coal, a company which ACC partly owned, has not honoured?
Honourable Judith Collins.
Well, Mr Speaker, exactly the same amount as the court ordered ACC to pay, which was none.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Why did ACC vote against the New Zealand Oil and Gas resolution of shareholders at the company's recent AGM, instead of voting otherwise or online or via its proxy, to contribute money to Pike River, which would have assisted in paying the compensation awarded by the courts?
Honourable Judith
Well,
Collins.
Mr Speaker, I think I should correct the member in relation to the actual motion, which was that the company investigates and reports to shareholders on paying the reparation order of $3.4 million handed down. It goes on to continue. ACC voted against it, I'm advised, because it did not believe as a shareholder that it was sufficiently informed on all of the considerations to make a judgment as to what was the right stance for New Zealand Oil and Gas to take on that issue.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Why has ACC made no claim against the directors of Pike River Coal Limited for ACC's losses following the misleading statements in the Pike River prospectuses, which could also have been used by ACC to pay for compensation?
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, could you ask the member to repeat his question, please?
I will certainly ask the member to repeat his question.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why has ACC made no claim against the directors of Pike River Coal Limited for ACC's losses, which the Minister said is $20 million, following the clearly misleading statements in the Pike River prospectuses, which again could be used by ACC to pay the compensation that the miners' families have not received?
Well, Mr Speaker,
Honourable Judith Collins.
That question is extremely speculative, and it would be a matter for the board of ACC, not for the Minister.
Supplementary.
Order. Supplementary question, Honourable David Parker.
Does the Minister agree that it is repugnant that ACC have done nothing to enforce their right to hold the errant directors of Pike River to account, have not contributed to the court-awarded compensation, and as one of the largest shareholders in New Zealand Oil and Gas, voted to block them from doing so too?
Honourable Judith Collins.
Mr Speaker, no, I would not call it repugnant. What I would call it is in accordance with the law, and I'd also point out to that member that ACC has in fact, well, by the end of this next year, will have paid almost $5 million to the families of those who were tragically killed at Pike River. there will be, in fact, around about $16 to $20 million extra paid, and that is in addition to the massive $16 million loss in the investment, which, by the way, was commenced under a Labour government. Ruth Dyson was the minister.
Order. Order. Question number 4. Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, this question is to the Minister of Maori Affairs and